until the 19th or mid-19th century at least, sewing was something that almost all women did. Only, in fact, the wealthiest women could afford not to sew. For most women, darning, sewing, knitting, mending were parts of everyday life. Lacquered Chinese sewing boxes made for export to places like Europe, the UK, and the US became very popular amongst wealthy women. These boxes were filled with small compartments, each containing delicately carved tools designed to make sewing a pleasure. Chinese lacquered sewing boxes often contained separate lattice-work pieces made of ivory or bone, and these were used to fill the separate little compartments that held the tools, the thread barrels, and the other accoutrements of sewing safely in place. Winding clamps, such as this one, were used in pairs to hold a skein of thread and to prevent it from tangling as it was wound onto thread winders. This was because thread came in skeins in those days, not on kinds of cotton reels as they do nowadays. Most Chinese sewing boxes also included these little things that we now call thread barrels. These thread barrels contained a spindle onto which thread was wound, and they had screw lid tops in order to make sure that the cotton stayed inside the barrel and stayed clean and tidy. If you look up close, you'll see that the barrels had a small hole in the side, and that was so that the thread could be pulled through the hole without the lid having to be removed from the barrel. Thread spools such as these were used for the storage of thread, and they're similar to thread winders and thread barrels. They were made to fit into special compartments in the sewing boxes, and again, they could move within those little compartments so that the thread could be unwound without having to remove the spool itself.